Hello, welcome if you're new or welcome back. I'm so happy to see you again. My name is Vix and this is my channel, Goddess of Gore, where I like to talk about horror, thriller, fantasy and sci-fi books. Today I'm talking about the 4 books I read last week, and that's the 12th to the 18th of March, which was the week of Weird Readathon. And I've read some weird ones, guys. Phew, shall we get on with it? As I said, I started and finished 4 books this week, which I want to say why, how, etc. First of all of these books were short books. Second, I was on annual leave. And third, I only read 2 of them purely with my eyes. I'm not a great advocate for mass consuming books, but I am an advocate of reading. I can read fast-ish, so I just wanted to put that out there because recently I have noticed all of these enormous numbers of books read in a month. And I'm finding it all a little silly. So, with that being said, the books. The King in Yellow, a short story collection where all of the stories have a connection because they all mention this play called The King in Yellow, and the way the book of the play has controlled their life or had a devastating consequence. I think the best story was The Yellow Sign, where an artist and his model are working one afternoon, and out of the window there's a really weird man that the model says looks like the man out of a recurring dream of hers, where he is driving the hearse with the artist in the coffin in the back. And when she wakes up, she's been standing by the window seemingly for hours, like drenched in the rain that's poured through the window. Time goes on and eventually the 2 of them get together, but one day she runs off in the house with his copy of The King in Yellow, the book. And although he shouts after her that she should not read the book, when he finds her, she is sitting in a state of shock and the book is open at the last page and she has read it and is now delirious. And then in another story, this guy likes to marbleize his artwork and keeps going on and on about how he really wants to marbleize one of the live rabbits that he has, which he eventually does, so that wasn't very nice. But one day, I think, after reading the book, his girlfriend, the book, The King in Yellow, his girlfriend or wife, I can't remember, she throws herself into the marbling vat that he has, and she now lives as a statue in the house, which was just weird to just keep her there. And then even the opening chapter is a weird creepy old man who his job is restoring reputation. Like, what? But you know what was so surprising? The writing in this book was so beautiful. It was dreamy and creamy and floaty and fluffy and just like, wow, even after all this time I still found it beautiful. But anyway, what was in the second act of The King in Yellow that was driving everyone so mad? He never tells you. So, thoughts down below if you think what you think it could possibly be, because I wanted to know and it was very infuriating. And I listened to this on Scribd and there were a few different versions on there and they are not all great, let me tell you that. And then I read Paradise Rot on ebook, and this was written like somebody's thoughts just going straight from brain to page, a complete transcription of what was going on in the main girl Jo's head. Jo is an exchange student from Norway to England, and she's a quiet and shy girl. She originally boards in like a B&B in the seaside town, probably very cheaply, until she could get student housing, and she's lodging with some quite confident people, and of course they all get the places to live first, even though poor Jo keeps going out and she keeps looking after house and room after room. She is starting her uni course and still doesn't have anywhere to live until she is shown this classified notice board for students, and there's event adverts and rooms on there, and she sees one for a warehouse where a female is asking for another female to share space. But what clinches the deal for Jo is the word quiet. The prospective housemate must be quiet. This is perfect for little shy Jo. She finds out why pretty much straight away. The rooms in this place have no walls. It's like plasterboard halfway up, and you can see over the top if you climb. Even the toilet, there is no privacy or anything at all. And this seems to enhance Jo's hearing even more. She says in it she hears the milk rippling in the fridge as the fans start whirring. She hears clothes rushing against skin as they are put on and off. The writing again is gorgeous and dreamy. These two books are just a treat to read. So, as I finished, I'm still not sure what the book is about. Maybe a love affair with jealousy, maybe a haunting. I don't know. The flora and fauna aspect is like rotting and mushrooms, the kind of things going on, mentions of drugs, but mainly it is about bodily fluids and not being able to fit in. But that writing. Raw by Cecelia Ahern was a quick little audio that I didn't know I was going to read to finish off my week. This was made into a TV show a couple of years ago that shocked UK viewers for its duck human sex scene. I was thinking about this when I was thinking about weird stuff. So I was thinking of this viewer shocking when I chose this book, and rather luckily for me it was on audio from script. What I didn't know was that the scene isn't even in this book. What it does have is a series of short stories about what it's like to be a woman who is aging, too clever, too grumpy, too neurotic, or just basically too much of something. It sets them out mostly humorous, over the top way, but the narration was amazing in this book. Ashley B and Cecelia Ahern deliver this book in certain sarcastic, ironic way that made the audio so good, and I found myself just laughing out loud at some parts, but I can see it not working for everyone. So then, finishing off the week was The Library of Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. I was given a e-arc by Titan Books through NetGalley, I think last year. So this book originally came out in 2015, so I don't know why it was on NetGalley. Maybe it was re-released by Titan Books, I don't know. Or Titan have the UK rights, whatever. But whatever the deal was, I knew that this had already been out before. And it was older than 2021 or whatever. So it opens with Caroline, and she's our main girl all the way through, and she's hitching a lift home, a place that people try to recall like a familiar town, but they can't quite put their finger on it. And when she gets there, her father is missing, and we get a little glimpse at her siblings. They all seem to act strange and weird. They dress weird, and one of the brothers has just killed their sister, and she's going to be brought back to life any minute. Carolyn has broken into the house of a cop with a man she stalked in a bar. Now they're both dead, but what was that for? It seems this man in the bar is a plumber, an ex-burglar, and is going to play a major part in this story. His name is Steve. So there is Steve, there's dogs, there's lions, and everything in between. So how can I categorise this book? It has every genre that was ever known inside the book. At first I didn't particularly like it, and then after a couple of chapters I was there completely. I loved it. Inside there's violent acts, there's animal cruelty, there's cruelty to children, adults, horrible stuff, there's light-hearted, there's sad, there's funny, there's everything, until we get to the end and you find yourself crying, completely crying. I have compared it myself to if Donnie Darko met Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind with Hard Boiled and the Avengers. and they all got together, this is what they would make. So all through it we are told that Carolyn is a librarian of a sort and a master of languages. She lives with her siblings who each have their own skill. Some of them good, some of them bad. Violent, cruel skills. And when their father goes missing, she will have to enlist the help of what she calls normal Americans to help with the next stage and put her plan into action. What the plan is, she doesn't know, or she tells us and everybody else that she doesn't know, but it will all make sense in the end. But what does happen is not easy, and lots of people are going to die horribly along the way. And this is quite possibly one of the hardest books to describe that I've ever had to describe. So all in all, the week of Weird was a fantastic, close-knit readathon that was on Discord. There were reading sprints on YouTube, all sorts of things going on, and I really had a nice time because I don't read weird books. I try not to read weird books because they're weird. Thank you to Jason and from Jason's Weird Reads and Crystal from Fibre Artsy, who were amazing hosts. They did their TBRs, they did recommended books, and it was perfect little readathon to break up the month. So thank you both so much for organising it and for being there every step of the way on Discord with daily check-ins, and I think you guys did a phenomenal job at keeping it all together. So thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today. I hope you have enjoyed this little catch-up. Let me know what you are up to, anything you're excited about. Have you got any plans coming up, any projects you're in the middle of, books, hobbies, got plans for? Let me know and we can have a little chat and stuff. Like and subscribe if you want to. See, I got it in this week. What have you read this week? Have you finished anything? Have you read any of the books? And what did you think of them? Or do you now want to read them and see what it was all about? I will leave you as always with one of the books I have read this week, and can you guess what it is from? And all the while I could hear this hiss and bubble, and I still didn't understand, as if we were far down on a quiet seabed and listening to the wind howling on the surface. Or do you prefer this quote? The Buddha teaches respect for all life. Oh, she considered this. Are you a Buddhist? No, I'm an asshole, but I keep trying. Make some good book choices this week, my friends, and I hope to see you all again soon. Until next time, bye-bye.